YouTube channel. My name remains Chetachi. Today we will be discussing our fundamental right to life, which is contained in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. In our last video, we talked about human rights, we talked about the different types of human rights, and we talked about our fundamental human rights, which is contained in the Constitution. Various constitutions in various parts of the world have different kinds of fundamental rights contained in it. But today we'll be looking at the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and we'll be looking exceptionally at Section 33, which gives us our right to life, or which talks about our rights to life. Section 33 states that every person has a right to life, and no one shall be deprived intentionally of his right to life except in certain circumstances or except in certain situations. We will talk about, or we would emphasize on intentionally, because this is going to mean something else like later on in the video. Now, there are certain instances or there are certain circumstances in which your right to life can be deprived. Well, I'll give you an explanation. Basically, what section 33 is saying, is you have a right to life, you have a right to live, and no one is to deprive you of your right to life or your right to live intentionally. This means that there are situations or there are circumstances in which your right to life can be taken unintentionally, and it's not going to constitute a breach of your rights. Example of those, or rather instances of those situations are where you have gone through the criminal justice system, you have been taken to the police, and you have been taken to court, and after reasonable investigation and trial, you have been found guilty of the commission of a criminal offense. Then the execution or the taking of your life would not be considered as a breach of your right. Other instances include self-defense, the arresting a person, or in situations where there is an arrest of a person, and also in situations where there is a suppressing of riot or mutiny or an insurrection. Let me give you explanation of all this. Now, when you have committed a crime and you have been found guilty of the commission of such a crime by a court of competent jurisdiction in Nigeria, and the penalty or the punishment for such a criminal offense is death, then the taking of your life or the deprivation of your life is not going to be considered as a breach of your rights. For example, if Mr. A kills somebody and you are arrested and you're taken to court, and the court found that you're guilty of the criminal offense, capital punishments are punishments, or they are punishments of death, or punishment in which your life is going to be taken for a crime that you have committed. And capital punishments are often given in serious instances like murder, armed robbery, and various other offenses. Now, if you have been found to take the life of somebody, Mr. A took the life of Mr. B, and he's found guilty, now capital punishment is going to be imposed on him. That means his life is going to be taken. And when his life is being taken, it's not going to be considered as a breach of his right to life or his right to live. This is because he has been found guilty of a criminal offense by a court of competent jurisdiction, and the punishment to that offense is his execution or the deprivation of his life. Other instances, self-defense that we mentioned in the first instance. If there is a defense by any person from unlawful violence, or from the destruction of his property, or in defense of his property, that right, in such instances, if there is a death of a person, it's not going to be considered a breach of the person's right. For instance, Mr. A is trying to defend himself from Mr. B. If there is a death of Mr. B, it's not going to be considered as a breach of his right to life, because Mr. A was trying to defend himself from Mr. B. And so the taking of someone's life happened in an instance of self-defense, and so it's not going to be seen as a breach of Mr. B's right to life. Also, in the suppressing of a riot or a mutiny, for example, the 2023 elections are upcoming. If there are situations where there are riots and there are fights and instances of violence, and there is a need to suppress the riots, and this leads to the death of persons or lead to the death of a person, that person is not, sorry, the right of that person cannot be said to have been breached because it was not done intentionally. And this is where intentional comes in. Where it is not done with the intention to kill the person, or there was no intention on the part of the killer to kill the person, then it's not going to be considered as a breach of right of such person. Other instances is where they want to effect an arrest of a person, or they are trying to prevent a person that has been lawfully arrested from escaping. For example, if the police comes to this place and comes here now and they want to arrest me, and there are people around and they are trying to arrest me, but there are situations or there are instances of violence or anything, the death of a person in such situation will not be considered as a breach of the right to life of such person. Or if there is an intent to prevent someone that has been arrested from escaping and this leads to the death of a person, it's not going to be seen as a breach of right of such persons. So basically, all rights to life says is that you have a right to live, you have a right to life, but where you happen to, or where your life is taken, or where someone's life is taken in a situation that is not classified as intentional, or in a situation of the execution of a criminal offense, then your right is not going to be seen as a breached right. So basically, as we have stated before, the punishment for the deprivation of the life of a person is capital punishment. Capital punishment means that for you to take the life of another person, your own life will be taken from you. That's basically what capital punishment is. And capital punishment is often used in situations of murder, of armed robbery, etc. But the law would be inclined to be lenient to you if the deprivation of the life of the other person wasn't done intentionally. And so you might be charged for lesser offenses and lesser punishment might be given. Basically, this means that the law will excuse a killer if the person he killed wasn't done intentionally, or the killing was done on reasonable grounds. So I hope this short video has been able to give a little bit of insight on what rights to life is and the exceptions to your rights to life. Please don't forget to like, to share, and to subscribe to this YouTube channel so that you could get more videos and more content like this. Thank you very much for watching and have a nice day.